Expo. Guten Morgen, Halle 6. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, RoboCupJunior Euro. Yeah, I've got some friends from Sweden. Welcome here. Herzlich willkommen hier an der Bühne. Schön, dass ihr da seid. I'm going to do this introduction in 2 languages, so that everybody can understand, hopefully. Wir haben jetzt nämlich gleich einen fantastischen Gast hier auf der Bühne, eine ganz große des RoboCups, die uns hier nochmal erzählen wird, wie man überhaupt in den RoboCup reinkommen kann. Falls ihr also Interesse habt, euch das mal anzuhören, was ist der RoboCup eigentlich, was passiert hier die nächsten 4 Tage, kommt gerne dazu. Or if you're already part of the RoboCup and you want to get some inspiration from our friends from Australia, then we will hear about some best practices and some learnings from RoboCups from the other side of the world. Yeah, I can say it like that. So we would be very happy if you are here to listen to the words of our next guest. Freut euch auf unseren Gast. Sie kommt aus Australien, ist gerade eine Weile in Europa und betreut hier auch die RoboCups. Sie ist von der RoboCup Federation im Executive Committee Mitglied und repräsentiert da den RoboCup Junior. She is from the RoboCup Federation, an Executive Committee member representing the RoboCup Junior. From Queensland, Australia, ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, begrüßen Sie mit einem großen Applaus. Give a warm hand for Margaux Edwards! Welcome!
Thank you. Excellent. So, welcome everyone to another day of RoboCup. Today is a great day. We've now got our second day of competitions, all the trial runs of actually getting our robots ready to go. Our volunteers are all trained, our robots are all ready, all our calibration has happened, and now it's time for RoboCup. So, today is our first full day of competition, so definitely stick around all day, come and see, have a look around. But before we get started, I really wanted to actually use this opportunity that while I'm here from the other side of the world to actually showcase what's going on in the world of RoboCup and actually provide some insight into what we're doing in RoboCup Australia to actually build our RoboCup community and actually make a really, really strong RoboCup, particularly in the growback from post-COVID. So this presentation today, for those of you who have no idea what RoboCup is, I'll provide a little bit of an introduction about what the actual competition is about, go through what you actually will see in all the different competitions this week, and also provide some insight for our mentors. So mentors, if you're around the hall and you want to find out something about how you can actually grow your skills or to have a little bit more information or be part of our community to actually grow RoboCup in Europe, please come and have a seat because it's going to be a really interesting discussion that I want to get started here today. And today isn't going to be the end of that discussion, it's the start. Because we really want to actually grow our RoboCup junior community around the world, and this is just the start of it. So, I'll firstly start off with what is the actual title of this presentation, which is what is RoboCup Junior. And secondly, an overview of the competition and the role that teachers and mentors play in actually engaging the next generation of roboticists. So that's what we're going to be discussing in this presentation. So, what is RoboCup? Well, RoboCup is actually a relatively old idea. It started back off in around 1997, 1998 with a group of researchers who had an idea. When robots were just getting started in actually research, they had this idea that by the middle of the 21st century, so 2050, that a team of fully autonomous humanoid robots soccer players shall win a game of soccer game against with the official rules of FIFA against the winner of the most recent World Cup, which being Germany at the moment is really opportune with the Euro finals just starting. So we can actually see that this idea was born for 2050. We're now reaching 2024, 2025 is next year, halfway through this idea. So, where are we now? What is the what's actually happening in 2024? Well, so before we go into actually what's going on in robots, let's have a look at what's actually happening in the world of RoboCup, halfway through the progression of what we are today. And for this, first we're going to actually look at a proper human versus robot soccer game. Now, you may notice one thing. These are not soccer players, they're actually robotics researchers. They're the official trustees of RoboCup, playing a game of soccer, mainly because they're the only ones who are smart enough to actually play against soccer, and also if something goes wrong, then no one's going to sue the actual trustees of RoboCup. So they're the only ones that are actually allowed to play against the robots at the moment. But as you can see, humans, robots, they're trying. So this is actually the Tech United from Eindhoven. So if you actually come to RoboCup in Eindhoven, you'll actually see these robots playing live in their home city. So it's going to be quite a spectacle to see. But as you can see, these are not human robots. They're omnidirectional, so just like the soccer robots that you'll see, they actually can move in any direction. They can dribble the ball, they can hold the ball, they can kick to each other. But as you can see, the humans are still having quite the advantage with dolls like that. So this is footage from 2022. Let's have a look at what happens where, instead of having robotics, let's have a look at some trained soccer players. Let's see. Well, that looks really easy. And again. Gentle kick into the back of the goal. But robots still can score a goal, so not too bad. Really trying, the robots don't really have an advantage. So, how do we get there? Well, let's think. In just recent years, humanoid robots, even this year, what we can see in the world of robots, we've actually seen a lot of progression in humanoid robots. Think Boston Dynamics, releasing a brand new electric version of the Atlas robot. There's actually a lot of research about actually how to make robots that can dance. We've seen Atlas dancing, we've seen parkour robots, but and they're very much, they can do a lot of things. They can balance, they can do a lot of things, they can probably kick a ball very well. But a team of robots playing against a fully functional group of human players, that's a tricky situation, and something that we really need to answer as roboticists. How do we get there? Now, this year, 2025, going forward, is actually a really interesting period of time because it's not going to be us really as the RoboCuppers of today. It's going to be our next generation of roboticists, i.e. our RoboCup Junior competitors now are going to be the ones programming the robots that we see that will be actually playing this game. So that's really exciting, but we need to actually have roboticists. So how do we do that? Well, we established RoboCup level is only a small aspect of what we actually see in RoboCup Junior. The real RoboCup Junior happens in the regions. So in our countries where we have the local competitions, our national competitions, to actually build our RoboCup community. This is only a small aspect of what you see here today. So it's actually quite an opportunity this year and next year when we're doing this sort of work, is our 25-year history. So the first workshop for RoboCup was actually held around this time in Stockholm in 1999. And next year, we'll have the 25th anniversary of our RoboCup being our international competitions. And that first competition was down in Melbourne, Australia. So nice and at home for me. Back then, there was only about 5 different regions and only a few different teams. Now we have 43 regions around the world, and we're bringing in close to 5 new regions just this year into the RoboCup family, which is actually amazing to see so many new regions wanting to get involved in RoboCup. So that's across Asia Pacific, so Australia, Asia, and then also for MMA, so going into all of Europe, going to Africa and the Middle East, and the Americas as well. So we have RoboCup competitors all over the world actually participating. And what makes RoboCup so special, and something that people don't actually realise, not a single person in our organisation is paid to do the work that we do. It's 100% volunteer run as an organisation. So every single person that you see here is actually giving up their time, which is an amazing thing of space about the spread of RoboCup worldwide. And something that should be that anyone that you see doing RoboCup should really get their thanks because of the time that they give up to actually give back to the organisation. So, why RoboCup? There's so many robotics competitions around the world now. Why choose a competition that's been around for 25 years? Well, it's not about winning, and it's never been the part of RoboCup. It's always about participation, learning, the problem solving. You won't see the massive celebrations, you won't see the massive award ceremonies for RoboCup. What you'll see is the actual participants learning, growing, sharing experiences, and actually coming together. And that's really what the RoboCup spirit is about. Something I mentioned in my opening speech was that RoboCup spirit. And that's the most important thing that we can inspire for the next generation of roboticists. To collaborate, to share learnings, and to help each other to solve problems. The one thing about RoboCup is that it's not a new challenge every year. These challenges actually haven't changed very much in those 25 years. And I've gone back and looked at the 1999 rules of soccer. They're actually very much the same. Same ball, same IR seeker design. The actual concepts haven't changed, which means it's not starting from scratch every year. You can build, grow, and experience RoboCup year on year as a progression, which is why you can see students starting at the age of 8 to 12 and actually still be competing when they get to their final year because they had that progression. That's what RoboCup can provide. You're never going to get bored of a challenge, and if you ever do, you can always go to a different challenge and try out your skills there. RoboCup is also an open platform competition, and that's something that's really important to us, is that you're not restricted in what technology you have. You will see through this competition lots of different types of robots being used, whether it's custom robotics using Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, all the way back through to Lego, to Fisher Tech, to microbits. It's an open competition, which means it's really adaptable for the classroom and what resources that you have in your school to actually how you can participate. And that's unique to RoboCup. There's no restrictions on what technology you have or how you buy it. There is always an option for you to participate. So how can you participate? Well, at the international level and at different regionals, we have different types of competition, but I'll go through the main ones that you will see at this event. So the first one is the soccer competition. And it's very simple, playing soccer with robots. either 1v1 or 2v2 leagues, either with an IR ball, so it actually detects emits light, or using vision systems. So you see the two different types of balls being used to play. We also have entry leagues for that. So it's not about just going straight to the top and expecting you to be able to play soccer. There's ways that we can actually get you into the competition to the entry leagues. So building robots with a set platform, with Lego, or with a whitelisted part of customized parts, so you can actually still be involved with lots of different platforms. It's not just Lego, which is something that people think about a lot of robotics competitions. You need Lego to get started. RoboCup, you don't. The next one is rescue. And there's lots of different types of rescue that we see. You can either be doing light following, you can also be doing mazes, you can also have that simulation environment. So if you don't have resources to actually build the fields, you can still be involved in RoboCup. And that's something really unique to the rescue competition, is that you can actually still be involved with just a high-powered computer. And where we are now, the OnStage stage. And this is a very interesting challenge. OnStage isn't about just making robots that look pretty and dance, which is always what it used to be the concept. But really, OnStage is providing a platform, a stage, to actually test out new technology. So you can bring any type of sensor, any type of robot, and actually showcase how it works. And that's how the scoring system works. It's not about just how pretty the robots look, it's how well you use the technology in the performance through the form of features, the characteristics of your robot. So an open platform, you can bring anything to the OnStage stage. You'll see here, we even have an ABB professional double arm robot here. Something that's used in industry to actually do manufacturing, but it's on stage because teams are actually able to use that technology in their performance. It's really that open. So that's our main leagues. Different regions have different leagues as well. And the main thing is why do RoboCup? And this is particularly important for anyone thinking, especially your mentors or teachers. Where do people go with RoboCup? Well, I'm on the other side of the world. I run RoboCup. I literally get to travel and actually see and help people build robots. I think I have one of the best jobs in the world. But actually, you just look at some of the names there. We did a survey in our local state in Queensland, which is, not a big area not a massive area for robotics. Australia doesn't really even have that many robots. But we had people at Facebook, Google, Toyota Robotics, all over the world, just from one state where you've got about 150 teams per year, if not close to 500 competitors. But those people are now all over the world building robots and actually having that experience. And you ask any single one of them, or ask any single volunteer here, they will know someone who has done amazing things in the world of technology STEM through their experiences at RoboCup. It is such opened so many doorways, especially here in Europe, and it's amazing to see how many people actually know someone who actually has competed in RoboCup. But this comes back to the main thing, is that no RoboCup junior competitor has actually ever tried to enter RoboCup by themselves, because RoboCup is nothing without its teachers. And that's something that's really important, something that I really like to let people know, is that the people who actually make RoboCup a thing are the teachers and mentors. So students, please just thank your mentors, because without them, you wouldn't actually have a chance to compete. So the next part of this little presentation is really about how can we go about looking at our teachers and supporting them to be part of the RoboCup Junior family. So this is a little bit of an example from how we see RoboCup integrated in Australia. Now I know every school system is very different around the world, and this is something that we see time and time again, different examples of how robotics is actually implemented and RoboCup is implemented. But really, this is the three parts that we see very often in our school systems. Firstly, curricula. Final year projects for high school students to actually really build an in-depth program, a student-led program. So So it's embedded in schools. It does take a lot of support from a mentor, but it's actually quite a great way for students who are keen in the area, who don't have all the people that you might need. That can be a really good way of getting involved. Co-curricular, very common part where our teachers give up their lunch times after school to actually be involved in those things. So supervised, the student-led programs, or using coaches past students to actually get part of the actual program. Or extracurricular, and this is actually a new part that we're seeing, where there's third-party companies that come in with robotics experience, either engineers, past students, and actually come in and run programs on how to get started in RoboCup. So these are the different parts that we get to see all the time in Australia, but also from communications I've had with a lot of mentors around the world, is actually different aspects of these are achievable. Now, the one thing I do need to point out for mentors, and any mentor will know this, RoboCup is a passion project. It's never going to be the time that you put in, you're never going to get that time back in terms of promotions or money. It really is a really passion project for students to actually participate. But you speak to any past RoboCup participant, they'll say that it was worth it. And you can see how many past participants are here that are actually giving back to RoboCup due to that love and experience that is inspired by teachers. So teachers that are new to it, it's never going to be the 100% get back from what you give, but it is certainly worth it in terms of the outlook that students actually get in the long run. And that can always lead to the stories, that can lead to opportunities, that can lead to growth at your school, for yourself, in your professional career, but it really is an opportunity that students really do appreciate. So, how to get started? Well, I couldn't really put a timeline of actually how to get started, but the main thing is that there are so many people, and Europe is so lucky compared to Australia. Look how many people there are at green shirts. There's so many people who have RoboCup experience that you can ask for help. So how to build a robotics program really comes down to choosing a platform. Do you have resources already at your school? Do you need resources on actually how to build your program? Talk to another mentor about how they actually purchased or funded their robotics program. So choosing a platform, whether it's the Lego Spike, whether it's Fisher Tech, Vex, all these different platforms can be used. Choose a league that suits that technology and actually have a look at the competition. And take a leap of faith. A lot of teachers, when they see the challenges, it looks scary. It really does look scary when you just look at the outside. But break down the problem and actually you'll find when you step by step go through what actually is there, it actually is a lot more achievable and divide and conquer those tasks to actually get part. And the last thing before I should wrap this up, because I also have to judge OnStage now, is to ask the help from the community. So I put 2 links here, and we'll put these links all over the different parts of the competition as well. There's 2 parts. One, the International Forum. So our forum, you can ask questions. People are scared to ask questions, but actually asking the questions to get started in RoboCup is the best way to actually get achievements and to actually get a progress in what you're doing. So I highly recommend, if you do have that question, or if your team has the question when you're actually building your robots, jump on the forum, because every single one of the committee members here has an account, and I can tell you it's very hard to actually get it in first to answer a question, because someone in the world is always online. And secondly, RoboCupJunior Australia is actually doing a lot of work in terms of providing professional development work for teachers to actually get them into RoboCup. And we actually go all over Australia providing these workshops. And we actually upload a lot of those resources onto our website. So if you do want to have a look at what actually is going on or how to get started in RoboCup, the rules are very different. It's a very simplified version of RoboCup, but RoboCupJunior Australia has a whole beginner's guide on just how to get started, a tutorial on how to actually complete your first rescue task. It may look different in terms of tiles, but it really is the same concepts that you need. So I highly recommend, and one of the part of the work that I'm doing is actually creating this as a full platform. So a worldwide platform where we can actually have resources for growing our community. And so I wanted to finish off with my final minute, which I'm actually surprised I did so well, is I want to ask you, will you join us on this journey? 2025 to 2050. In 25 years, think what was happening back in 25 years ago and how our world has progressed with robots. And now it's progressing even more with the opportunities we've seen in the IDEA Expo. Now is the time to get involved in robotics. It is a really exciting time, and the main people that we need to actually bring on this journey is our teachers, is our mentors, and then we can pass on to our students to actually make a really, really amazing future. So, on that note, if you have any questions, get in contact with me. I'm up at all hours because I work on a 24-hour worldwide cycle, but I'm very happy to answer any questions about growing RoboCup and the opportunities that it provides. So thank you very much for your attention, and let's see what the future holds, because I am so excited to see what our students can do when we get to 2050. Thank you.
Thank you very much. RoboCup Federation Executive Committee member, Margaux Edwards. I learned so much. I learned it's a community of passion with very smart people. I learned it doesn't take much to get part of it because it's not that expensive and you don't need expensive equipment. And you can profit tomorrow from the network that you made today. So you made a very good advice for people to be part of it because it's great fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And enjoy the other days. So, what's next? In about 15 minutes we will start with the first competition of the OnStage entry league right here. So have a small break and then come back or have a look around at the Ideen Expo. Für alle, die hier als Besucherinnen und Besucher der Ideen Expo sind, schön, dass ihr zugehört habt. Kommt gerne wieder zurück. In einer Viertelstunde geht es hier dann weiter. Schaut auch bei den Soccer-Leuten vorbei. Schaut in der Rescue Area vorbei und sprecht mit den Leuten mit den grünen Bändchen. Die können euch alle Fragen beantworten. Bis später.